Hello everybody, it is Mav here, and I was just about to play some Dead by Daylight. I'm not live currently, but I was just sitting here, off stream, just ready to play some Dead by Daylight, while I was scrolling through YouTube. And I found this very interesting video from a person that we all like. Wink wink. BoogyWoogy made a video about the new 9.00 update named, and I will name this for you, DBD's upcoming 9.0.0 patch will kill this game. So I'm very interested in hearing what he has to say. Very, very interested. Oh wow, this goes on for a while, okay. We'll just, go here. Whatever. We'll just go here. I'll remove this, I'll remove the chat box for you. There you go. Okay, there he is. Now, mind you, this guy believes that every single kill in the game is sweaty, and he also believes that, that there's no such thing as a chill killer. He reports literally every single killer he goes up against. And all his teammates. Just keep that in mind.
What's going on, everybody? BoogyWoogy is live, and the developers released the upcoming 9.0.0 patch, and is literally going to kill this game with fire. What I'm about to show you
Tell me
today
why. Tell me
is
why.
the developer update, where it states as thus, where the 9.0.0 update will be here before you know it. It is time once again to take a look at the notable gameplay changes that will kill this game with fire, and make it unplayable, and we have no
Unplayable.
idea what the fuck we're doing. That's exactly what it says.
Okay.
So
Tell me,
here
big man.
is the mechanic that's gonna kill this game with fire.
The going next prevention is going to kill the game with fire. Okay. I would love to know what your reasoning is for this. I would love to
Going
know.
next prevention, adding a system to identify whether a survivor's sacrifice is an intentional attempt at going next. If a player is identified as intentionally going next, they will receive a disconnection penalty point.
Mm-hmm.
Remove the
That's good.
option to self-unhook on first hook stage unless they have one of the following equipped. Slippery Meat perk, up the ante perk, a luck offering. Added unlocks the ability to attempt to unhook yourself effect to luck offerings. Survivors are no longer instantly killed after two struggling skill checks pass without any input. Please note the disconnection penalty system is not active on the public test build, so certain facets.
By the way, I don't see any issues with this. I don't see any single issue with these changes. Like, I think these changes are great. I think they're going to make the game um, a whole lot better because it's going to get these crybabies that don't want to play the game and don't want to play against specific killers or specific builds or whatever, or when things go wrong in the match. I think it's great because then these players are going to stop playing. And then we have the players that actually want to play the game.
Of the going next penalization will not be available to test. So what's the point of you guys not testing it if it's not going to be in the fucking public test build?
It's there so we know what's going to happen. It's there so we know what's going to happen so we can get feedback on it before it releases. That's why they let us know.
This right here is going to kill the game because you are forcing players to deal with the most sweatiest killers when they just want to move on. They don't want to deal with it. Now
No,
you're
you're not being
using
forced. You can just DC and take the penalty. What do you mean you're being forced? You can just DC and take the penalty, and leave them with the bot. What do you mean? You're not being forced. What do you mean you're being forced?
forcing them. And this kills even solo queue players on the survivor side to deal with the sweatiest dipshit killers ever, such as Kananaki, Nurse.
Kaneki is a sweaty killer. Kaneki is a sweaty killer. Okay, I think it's pretty much been debunked now that sure, Kaneki is a strong killer, but he's not one of the best killers in the game. Like, let's be real, he's not. If you're a really good Kaneki player, like Benork or as you know him on Twitter, the molded 7-Eleven hot dog. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's an incredible Kaneki player. But other than that, no. No.
Blight, any of the broken killers that behavior continues to buff.
Blight and Nurse I agree with. Blight and Nurse I agree with. Those are very strong. However, it sounds like you just have a skill issue and you don't know how to play against these killers, because there is counterplay towards these killers if you actually bother to play against them.
Which we will come into later in this upcoming update. But this game, this is completely unnecessary right here. Like, you are forcing players to play
It's not necessary.
shitty ass game in the games where you're forcing players to tolerate sweaty ass killers that are just gonna take advantage of exploits that you fuckers have continued
What
to
exploits?
time and time again not address, such as the slugging, the proxy camp mechanic is weak as fuck. It is just like they're so retarded. They're literally
He thinks slugging and proxy camping are exploits, when they are literally a mechanic in the game that behavior has said on multiple occasions is not a reportable offense, nor is it an exploit. If it was an exploit, dude, I think every single killer in this game would be banned. Genuinely. So I think you calling behavior retarded is the retarded point.
so retarded. Instead of this, how about you put in a filter system on what survivors want to go against what killers? So, like, what is that so much to fucking ask? Like saying, like, I don't want to face Blight, I don't want to face Kananaki, I don't want to face Ghostface. Like,
They could do that, sure, but how are you then going to learn how to play the game? You're not. You're not going to learn how to play the game. You learn how to play Survivor by playing against all killers. You don't learn how to play Survivor by playing against only specific killers. That's why I think filtering which killers you want to play against, I don't think that's a good idea. I can understand if you DC from a match because you have coulrophobia, not the perk, actually coulrophobia, because of when you face against Clown, or you have a hard time seeing the vomit from Plague. I can understand those. And I completely sympathize with those. And I think they should add some sort of accessibility feature for that. However, I do also think that you should be able to play against every single killer in the game, and you shouldn't be able to filter them out, because otherwise you're not going to learn how to play against every single killer in the game. And that's the whole part of the experience. Learn how to play against all the different killers in the game. Even though we're approaching 40 killers now, with Springtrap coming into the game.
like, I think that would be a much better system. Like, there are certain players that don't want to face certain killers. Why can't you implement that into the game instead of this bullshit? I just don't understand. Like, not only they have a ridiculous DC penalty in a game that is so killer sided, they keep adding buffs and
Pay attention to the fact he thinks that this game's killer-sided. If you've watched any of this guy's streams, you know why he thinks this game is killer-sided. And it's because he's literally dog shit. It is because he's so bad at this game. It is incredible. He's the most immersed gamer I have ever freaking seen. And it's not even close. It's not even close. He hides from the killer at all times, which is fair, it's fine, but then he complains whenever the killer finds him and is like, oh, you're a stream sniper. And I don't even need to show you the proof, because you can just go ahead and watch any fucking video of any other YouTuber that has covered this dude. It's the same shit over and over and over again. And honestly, dude, if you can't face the fact that you're just bad at the game and you have a skill issue, don't fucking stream.
keep reworking the maps to work in the killer's favor, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, Dead by Dead holding survivors hostage. Exactly. Exactly. This is bull.
It's not a holding survivors hostage. You can literally just pull the plug and just DC at any moment. They're only saying that you're being held hostage because oh no, I'm getting punished for not having to play the game. Of course you're not, of course you're getting punished. Of course there's a punishment. Like, if I were to participate in literally any sort of game, and I were to just draw myself from that, of course I would be disqualified afterwards. If I were to enter a fucking chess tournament, for example, and I were to play within that chess tournament, but then like draw myself from that chess tournament, the moment that it was about to start, I would be disqualified, obviously. Obviously, or during the chess tournament, I would be disqualified. Of course. So why should it be any different? Why should it be any different for a game like Dead by Daylight? I know Dead by Daylight isn't chess, but it's still a game. So, ugh.
Shit, right here. I'm glad I stopped playing because this is gonna kill the game. And these dumbasses like Matthew Cote are just like we did a pretty good job so far. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
I think you did a pretty good job touching yourself. Uh,
you can just hear how salty he is. You can hear how absolutely salty he is from watching this because he just can't go next in his fake murder game. Like, it's so crazy to me that these types of players are just like, oh no, I can't go next in my fake murder game because, oh, I don't like playing the game, but I'm still playing it. Make it make sense, dude.
let's see, extreme hiding update. This is also dumb. Like update the AFK detection system. Reminder: if a player is considered AFK, crows will gradually begin spawning above the survivor, beginning with 1 and capping at 3. Once the survivor has 3 crows following them, they lose collision with other players. I'm sorry, but isn't this a hide and seek game? Aren't survivors not supposed to get caught by the killer? I mean,
Yeah, but there's another way you can not get caught by the killer. It's this very funny thing in the game and a very funny mechanic called looping. And it's a very effective way to not get caught by the killer. And if you get really good at it, you might never be caught by the killer. But again, you don't know anything about that because you just hide from the killer and then complain whenever the killer finds you because they're stream sniping. Because of course they would only be stream sniping. It's the only explanation, right?
am I missing something here? Aren't the killers supposed to find the survivors? It's basically a hide and seek game. So what the hell's the point of this? I hope Springtrap flops. Oh, it will, and I'll make an update about that
It will not.
too. Blood web spending improvements, adding an auto blood web button which allows you to set how many levels you want to automatically progress through, blood points permitting. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Mori update.
And even on like the most positive things, that's a positive thing, by the way. The blood web spending improvement is a positive thing. It's a good thing. So we don't have to sit like 30 minutes spending blood points whenever we have a ton of blood points. He's just like, oh yeah, whatever, that's okay. Instead of being like, oh wow, yeah, that's great. Because it is great, it's awesome.
Updated the Mori system so now it can be activated with 2 or more survivors are dead, and the following occurs. The second last survivor is hooked and on struggle phase. The final survivor is one of the following states: healthy, injured, or dying. With this change, killers will be able to activate their Mori earlier, as long as victory is assured, removing the need to wait for any hook survivors to be sacrificed. This will let players on both sides get back into the action sooner.
And that's a good change. I think we could all agree that this is a good change. Because before, you would have to wait for the survivor to die on the hook, and then you could Mori the last survivor. But now they just need to be on the hook, struggle phase, and then the last survivor has to be in the dying state, and then you can just Mori them. I think that's a good thing, because then you don't have to wait for the survivor on the hook to kill themselves.
Yeah, completely unnecessary. This is not necessary at all.
It is.
Map offering updates. Map offerings grant a flat percentage chance of being sent to
I
the
wonder how he's
selected
going to feel
realm.
about this one.
Is no longer a guarantee. Map offerings no longer stack their effects. Map and gameplay effect offerings are treated as secret during the loaded screen reveal. So what the fuck is the point of offering map offerings if it's not gonna be a guaranteed and they no longer stack? What the fuck is the point then? Like, aren't players supposed to choose the map offerings and hope that it would be in their favor against the killer, or killer choose that map offering in their favor against the survivors?
No, you wouldn't want it to be the killer bringing it because oh the game is killer sided, right? No, but seriously, the reason why it's bad that the map is a guarantee, I can explain this very, very quickly to you, by the way. It's actually super simple, right? When the map offering is guarantee, right? The map offering is guarantee, then you will most likely have perks that either synergize with this map, or just could just be your favorite map. But for the most part, people bring it and with their favorite perks, and sometimes in Swift, right? And then whoever is on the other side gets butt fucked. That's not fun. So, for that reason, they bring the sacrificial ward. I actually had a talk with somebody about this on Twitter. Um, you bring the sacrificial ward, even though it is the offering you do not want to bring. So now you're bringing a sacrificial ward because you don't want to deal with map offerings, or you bring a map offering yourself because you don't want to deal with other people's map offerings. And then it kind of creates this back and forth where okay, if I if this if I don't bring the sacrificial ward, then I may not have fun because I'm going to be brought to a map where the survivors are just going to crush me, or the killer is going to crush me, for that matter. However, even though that I do bring the sacrificial ward, I still lose because I don't get to bring the offering that I want to bring. So, whoever and whatever happens uh, whenever there is a map offering in play, no matter what, even if a sacrificial word is brought or not, the opposing side, no matter what, loses. Every time. And that's not good design. That is not good design, and that is why it is at 20%. So now there's a chance that you might go to the map you want, but it's not guaranteed, so it's not a guaranteed slam dunk for you.
What the fuck is the point? People are gonna still select for 4K. Oh yeah, because they take advantage of an exploit.
Slugging is not an exploit. If slugging was an exploit, behavior would have said so. Clearly stated many, many times that it's not an exploit. So quit your whining because you don't like because you don't like slugging. That does not mean that it's an exploit.
Like, excuse me.
Sneeze, brother.
Sneeze there. But this makes no sense. So they're gonna make map offerings pointless. Spawn rules updates. Adjust the following spawn rules. Survivors spawn as close together as possible. Survivors spawn on the same floor where applicable. The killer will not spawn at the center of small maps. Change this name of Shroud of Separation to Shroud of
Yeah,
Vanishing, and change
it's
its
good.
effect to nullify offerings that change survivor spawn locations.
Mm-hmm.
Change the name of Shroud of Binding to Shroud of Separation, and change its effect to spawn survivors apart from one another.
Yep.
With these changes to the spawn rules, players will find their spawn locations to be more consistent when not affected by offerings. We also know certain Shroud offerings have historically word counter to what each rule might want, so we adjusted them to better line up with these expectations.
Oh yeah.
Since when? Like, I hardly ever see survivors use these offerings. It's mainly just either map offerings and bloody party streamers, escape cake, bound envelope, or once in a while the either a white ward or a I forget the offering where it separates the hooks farther apart.
Yeah.
But I hardly see anybody use these.
Yeah, it's not very often, but if you actually were up in the high MMR, which I'm just gonna let you know, Boogie, with how you're playing, there's no way, then you would actually see this offering quite a lot. Or at least a lot more.
Gamma adjust setting. I don't give a shit about this. Custom match improvements. Increase spectator slots in custom game to 5. Added hotkey inputs to custom game spectators to quickly switch the view of a specific character and cycle through character views one by one. Added controller support for the above improvements.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
it's
here we
good.
go. Killer updates. Yep, we're gonna buff killers more.
What he doesn't know is that the artist update are nerfs. The majority of them are nerfs. The only buff that artist got was to the iridescent feather. And the only buff is that there's no limit to your crows anymore. Now you have 3. It's the same add-on, but you have 3 crows.
What else is new? Oh, Petrified Oak. Thank you. Thank you. Overall, the artist is a solid place balance-wise and boasts useful add-ons that meaningfully change how her kit works to encourage even more pick variety among these. We have just her top and bottom perform add-ons to bring their usefulness more in line with her other options. They are buffing the fuck out of the Lich. I'm pretty sure One Letter Shore is going to be happy about this.
Yeah, one letter short, yeah. The guy who's blatantly sexist and apparently got, I'm gonna put this in quotation marks for you, banned by Spooky community, even though that there's no actual proof for it. Right.
All the Lich spells are available at the start of the trial. Reduce cooldowns of all spells. The Spelling Sphere's projectile moves quickly when first cast and slows down over time. Increase the Killer Instinct duration once survivors exit the Spelling Sphere. Increase
Yep.
the attack cooldown period after fly ends. Increase the duration and movement speed of fly. Adjust Mage Hand hold time to make it consistent for both killers and survivors, resolving a known bug. Increase the effects of magic items when casting associated spells, adjust several add-ons. For the Lich, much of his power focuses on providing utility over reliability, injuring some.
But that's just the fact that he nods. Like he just like shakes his head whenever like there's something that he just doesn't agree with.
Survivors. We adjusted his 4 spells to increase the frequency in which they can be used to ensure that more spell slinging, while quality of life adjustments help make these spells feel smoother to use and to abuse. On the survivor side of things, we also wanted to ensure magic items feel like more available options for countering each spell, so we buffed them slightly. Even though the only magic item is good is to reveal this spelling sphere to avoid it. The other ones are just pointless. They're useless.
Not really.
So they're buffing the fuck out of the Lich, which
There are buffs and nerfs on this list, but he's only looking at the buffs. He's not even paying attention to the nerfs because killers are overpowered. Killers are getting buffed all the time when there are both buffs and nerfs on this.
was completely unnecessary. They're updating perks on both killer and survivor. So they're updating the color brine, dark devotion, hex retribution, machine learning, superior anatomy, terminus. I don't know. I'm gonna be terrified how they're gonna update terminus. Thrilling
Why? Terminus is so average. What?
tremors. They're gonna
I wouldn't even call it average.
update thwack. Why? We adjusted values of the above perks, which boosted lower pick and killer rates to introduce small buffs to increase their availability. Stay tuned for patch notes for specific details on these value changes. And to the survivor perks, they're updating Bonity Knowledge, Champion of Light, Counterforce, Desperate Measures, Empathetic Connection, Executation, and they're updating Light Footed.
I will say, by the way, the buffs that came out for the Survivor perks are way better than the Killer perks. If he thinks that the Killer perk buffs were better than the Survivor perk buffs, he's living in Fantasyland. Like, he is living in a freaking Fantasyland because in what world is new body knowledge better than new Terminus? Like, what? Are you insane?
I hope they're not going to shit on this perk. Similar to the above, we updated values on some perks with lower performance, introducing small buffs. We'll share the exact values in the incoming patch notes. So there you go. This update is just gonna kill the game,
Nope.
especially with the going next prevention mechanic.
Nope.
This is completely pointless. You're
Nope.
basically forcing survivors just to deal with killers' toxicity and
What toxicity?
how they are just gonna take advantage of exploits. You're forcing them just to deal with it, and you're
What
gonna kill
exploits?
this game with fire. Same thing with the extreme hiding update. I mean, survivors are supposed to hide. They're not supposed to get caught by the killer. I mean, throw me a fucking bone here. I'm like, am I fucking missing something here, guys? This is a hide and seek game, is it not?
It is a run and hide from the killer game. You forgot one major part of the game. Run and hide from the killer. You don't only just hide from the killer, you also run from the killer. That's the point of the game. But you seem to don't really understand the running part of the game. And I wonder why. I wonder why that is.
Uh, yeah, I'm glad I quit because I'm not sure how much longer Dead by Daylight is gonna last. I hope
A long time.
Survivor
Especially with
may
this.
uh, cause an uprise to this, and
Nope.
this game and this does not get implemented into the game. Just how like Killer Mains just complained about when the developers were gonna pass the base kit Unbreakable, which they still should add to the game. I mean, 45 seconds is still a long time to recover.
I agree, by the way. I agree that they should add the base kit Unbreakable. But I'm gonna be completely fucking real with you. The base kit Unbreakable that we got in that PTB was very heavily favored towards higher tier killers. And for that reason, it did not get into the game because a killer like Blight, killers like Nurse, even Oni, killers that had like really large mobility and lethality, would just be able to end the game so quickly that it just was not a good design choice. That's why it did not get added.
For the killer to come back and pick you up.
And then killers that were lower on the tier list, killers that were weaker, that didn't have much mobility, that couldn't snowball as effectively, they never got value out of it, and they just got stomped by it.
Put you on the hook. So, but it was a great balance to the slugging. Unbreakable and two perks is not enough to counter the slugging. It's not enough. Like something needs to be done.
I think this guy doesn't know how to use Unbreakable correctly.
But behavior is not listening to the fan base whatsoever. And this just proves time and time again that they are just leaning towards killer sided. They're catering killers to try to keep their game alive as much as possible. So there you have.
I want to show him some. I want to show something afterwards, because I'm going to take this argument with, oh, this game is killer sided. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to completely pull it apart with actual statistics in a moment. But let's watch the video.
Have it. But on a side note, so it turns out that Hassan Abi, aka Hassan Piker, was unbanned. He was only banned for a day, 6 minutes, 23 seconds.
Okay, this I don't care about. This I don't care about. Alright. So, I'm going to show you, okay, by the way, with literal, actual stats. So, proof, something that you don't seem to care about a whole lot. You just care about your own opinion. That's fine. However, I'm going to show you actual proof and statistics right here, right now, about whether or not that you are right regarding this. So, if we go here, we're on Nightlight right now, which shows you statistics for all the killers in the game, nightlight.gg, and it shows you the statistics for all the killers in the game. On average, killers has a 54.75% kill rate. This is supposed to be a 60% kill rate for the game to be killer-sided. And for it to be survivor-sided, the survivor escape rate has to be over 40%. And guess what? It is over, way over, actually, 40%. It is currently at a 45.27%. So you can keep talking about this whole killer-sided dilemma all you want. The stats reflect at the moment that the game is purely survivor-sided. And to be honest, I'm not surprised. Survivors have gotten so many good tools, and they're getting way more buffs, they're getting way more stuff that they can use, whereas killers are just kind of getting like small, minor buffs, even like the Vecna buff that we saw before. It's sure it's going to be great for him, but it's not going to change him that much. It's not going to change him like that much. He's still going to be the same killer, except Mage Hand is actually going to be feeling good now. Um, and the artists, like, they're all nerfs. They're basically all nerfs. Like, come on, man. And yeah, I just think that Boogie is completely out of touch with Dead by Daylight. I don't think he has any idea on how to play Dead by Daylight. If this is what he thinks, that 9.00 is going to kill the game. Because let's be real here. If that's going to kill the game, then none of us wanted to play the game in the first place. Like, let's be real. Let's be real with ourselves. If this kills the game, then none of us wanted to play this game in the first place. And that makes me sad, personally, because I enjoy this game and I like this game. But, again, that's just my opinion. I just wanted to share this video with you and give my commentary on it. And, yeah, I'm gonna see you probably today or tomorrow for a stream. So, bye-bye, everybody. And I'll see you another time. Love you all.